that a leader says that, and I want to make sure your son understands that he should be very proud of his father's service to our country. I want to ask, though, there's another area that concerns me, and another area that I continue to hear concern from my constituents, and that is that the riots on January 6th in the United States Capitol were horrific. They were intended to disrupt a legitimate government function, and they should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. The riots that occurred throughout our country in the summer of 2020 were horrific. They were damaging. And many of the American people in my district, and granted, it's a fairly rural district and a fairly conservative district, but many of those people expressed concerns that there is not a parity between the attention that was given to those that committed crimes on January 6th and those that committed crimes throughout the summer of 2020. And furthermore, as part of that analysis, the crimes that were committed on throughout the summer of 2020 appeared to be coordinated. And I'd like to ask you very specifically, can you tell this committee that George Soros was not behind, and his money was not behind, directly or indirectly, the Antifa activities that occurred in the summer of 2020?
Yeah, certainly, any of the work I've done, I've never seen any suggestion of that. However, that's not really something that I would look at in terms of the cases that we handle in the National Security Division. But I do agree with you that we need to look, and we are looking even-handedly across the board, whether we're talking about crimes committed during the riots and destruction of the summer of 2020 and at the horrific attack on the Capitol on January 6th, and using the tools that we have. The reality is that the thousands of arrests that occurred in the summer of 2020, most of those were handled by state and local, as they should have been. The difference, of course, in some ways that I think accounts for the attention paid on January 6th, beyond the nature of that attack and the significance of it, is that most of those crimes are federal crimes, if not all, because the target was the Capitol. So I do think that accounts for some of the difference in view when it comes to the role of the federal government. But the fundamental point that you make, I completely agree with. We need to be apolitical in how we handle these cases, and we need to look across the board and be driven by the nature